to the 102nd drive-through review, and today we are going to be talking about Abaddon, one of the best games I think. And so what you can do is you can fist fight when they're close, the robots, and you can shoot over buildings, and you can also like go next to a building and shoot. And yeah, I really recommend this game. I think it's pretty fun. And now my dad is going to tell you how it's done, how it's played.
Okay, here's what you get in the box of Abaddon, or some people call it Abaddon. You get this nice full color rule book here. It comes with very detailed rules. The rules are pretty simple, and you've got like 16 different missions or scenarios here that you can play from 2 to 4 players. You got a whole mess of these cool dice here. That some of these you'll have to sticker, and some of these are D6s and D10s. And you have all of these mechs here, these links they call them. And you've got 4 different types of units in here, and there's just a ton of them in here. You've also got some of these city and terrain tiles. And you got a whole mess of these cards here, which are going to be sort of the heart of the game. You have these weapon system cards, give you different abilities, and then you've also got these wildfire cards. So that anytime you roll 1, a wildfire will happen, some kind of critical hit or some other special effect will happen and really just throw the game into sort of a wacky fun mode. Okay, the first thing you're going to do when you play is pick one of the scenarios and lay out the terrain and where your units are going to go. Sometimes you could be able to place them in a certain area. Other times you'll be able to place them in specific spots. Here you can see heavy link would go where the H is, medium where the M is, etc. The terrain is just these 2 little pieces of cardboard that you'll slide together. There's like 3 or 4 different types of terrain. There's not really any difference in them. They just sort of act as a blocker to line of sight. So based also on the scenario, you're going to get a certain number of the different types of units. You got your heavy links, your medium links, your recon links, and your infantry, which is little humans here. You're going to put in these little crystals based on what color you are. So if you're a red player, you'll take the red crystals and you'll slide them in these little holes here. And you know how many to put in there based on this here. So you can see on the back of these, they're all the same. You can see he moves 1 space per turn or per activation. He gets a battle of a green D6 and then a power of 4, and that tells you how many crystals to put in. Whereas this heavy link will get a move of 1, and he gets actually 5 power, and he battles with a black D10, and they've got dies to match the color of the stickers there. So you're going to get those, you're going to place them out on the board, you're going to get a hand of these cards here, varying on the scenario, and these do a couple of different things. These are used for range attacks. So most of them will say target of 2 or target of 4, and some will say like target of 1, maybe with some extra effects. These are going to be used to have a range combat. So range is always 5 hexes, and you have to have a clear line of sight, so you can't go through other mechs or other terrains here. And you're going to use these to basically add a modifier to your die. So if the heavy link is going to fight, you may play a target of 2, roll the die, so he's got 9 plus 2, and then so that'll be your attack. Some of these other cards will be able to fire over other terrain and other mechs, and they'll have the range depicted on the card itself. So if you see this card here, it gives you a +2, target enemy unit within 2 to 5 spaces, no line of sight restrictions. So there's a few like that as well. There's also a Doomsday Bolt, which is sort of a special attack, which I'll explain in a minute. But this is actually, you will do this before you do any of your movement or attack on your turn. So the first thing you're going to do every turn is everybody's going to have 5 of these activation dice. And they're going to roll these up, and this is going to tell them what they can activate and what they can do on the turn. So you can see here I've got a heavy link die, or 2 heavy links, like so. So that means I could activate 1 heavy link twice, or 2 heavy links once. And activation means I can move it, whatever its movement allowance is, in this case of 1, then I can attack with it. Now even if I move this guy twice, because I activated it twice, he can still only attack once per turn. And that's the same for all of these units. So here I've got a medium link, I could move the medium guy once, up to his movement allowance, and then attack with him once. The other 2 faces, other than, for the units there, are these weapon systems. And these will just let you simply draw a weapon system card, and that's the only way you're going to draw a card. It's not like you draw a card every turn. So you have to be somewhat conservative with your card play. Lastly, we have this command die here. And this can be used either to draw a card, or you can use it as a wild to activate any unit that you want. So let's say we wanted to really activate our recon, we could use our command die to do that. Or we can use it to play this Doomsday Bolt card. Now you have to do that first before you do anything else. So you can spend that command die and then play this. And what you're going to do is target a unit. Say I would target that heavy link. I'll take 2 of these, I'll roll them, and then if I roll a heavy link, then boom, he's immediately gone, no matter how many power crystals he may have in his base. The other thing that the command die can do is to sort of deactivate a wildfire card. Now sometimes when you play one of these, you'll put this little marker in the unit, and you've got markers like these here, and they have the same name as some of the cards. So I may put this marker in here, and then this will be sort of a debilitating effect that will follow this guy around throughout the rest of the game. However, if I roll a command die, then I can use one of the command dice to remove that marker and then discard the card that goes with it, so he's sort of healed in a sense. So once I've rolled my die, decided what I want to do, activated any units, maybe I move this guy here, and move this guy maybe behind this barricade, this guy over here, then I can do some attacks. Now basically there's 2 kinds of attacks. So you can do a melee attack, which is adjacent units, or you could do a ranged attack like so. He can attack there to there. Remember, there's a range of 5. Or remember, you can also do a ranged attack that doesn't require line of sight. So let's look at that one first. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to declare all the guys that I'm going to attack, and then I'm going to put cards down. And the rules say to like put them on the board or whatever. It's never really that chaotic that you need to have these right next to each other, but we just kind of place them somewhere near the unit, and then we all know who's attacking what. So I may play that, and then maybe I want to play a regular target card from one of my other units. So what I'll do is I'll play this card face down. So basically any of the cards with text you play face up, and any of the ones that say target you play those face down. Now if you play a face down card, your opponent has the ability to respond by playing their own face card down of their own. So I can play this card, he can play that card, and then we're going to reveal the cards, and then we're both going to roll the dice that match our unit. So if I was attacking with this heavy unit, I would roll the black die, and then if he was counterattacking with the medium, he'd roll this die, and we'd add the modifiers. So in the case of a normal ranged attack, the defender even has the opportunity to damage the attacker. So you're going to roll, add the modifiers, whoever has a higher amount is going to damage the other guy. Now if you roll double, then you're going to damage them twice. Whereas the case of these not line of sight cards, you're able to fire from cover and then not be responded to. The other type of attack can be a melee attack like so. If the units are adjacent, then both units will just roll their die, then no cards will be applied, and then whoever rolls higher is the winner. Now remember, anytime you roll a 1, the opposing unit is going to take a wildfire, and all of the die roll damage is ignored. So as you can tell, it's a very fast, easy, fun way to play sort of a combat game, and really great geared towards kids. These mechs are really awesome, very well detailed. We could even paint them if we really wanted to. The cards are really swingy, so you've got a target of 1 all the way to a target of 8, plus these other cards with effects and text on them. Plus, when somebody rolls a 1, everybody's happy because then we get some sort of chaotic thing. And some of these can actually be good for the unit that gets targeted and things like that. So it makes the game a lot of fun. It plays really quickly. Now there are 4-player scenarios, and I wanted to save this part for last because it's sort of an interesting way to play. So normally in a 2-player game, one player is going to get the 1 lock-on marker and the other is going to get a 2. So the first thing you're going to do on your turn actually is you're going to take your lock-on marker and put it on a enemy unit like so, or put it next to it. And so what that means is for the rest of that turn, or basically while that lock-on marker is stuck on that unit, you're going to get a +1 to any die rolls attacking that unit. Even when you're defending against that unit's attacks with another unit possibly, you're going to get a +1 if you counterattack. So player 1 is going to get this one, and player 2 is going to get that. And at the start of your turn, you can move it from a unit, or if the unit's been destroyed, put it on another unit. Now in a 3 or 4 player game, you're going to pass all of these out to all the different players, and then actually before each round shuffle them up, so the turn order is actually going to change around, which is kind of interesting. Now we've just been playing me and my son, but one thing that you can do is still play the 4-player scenario with 2 players, shuffle these up, so that the turn order can be really interesting. So I could go twice in a row, then he could go twice in a row, or he could activate one division, whatever division is assigned to the number 1 marker, and then the other division is assigned to the number 2. Now you could play with a 1 set of cards, which is what we do just to keep it simple, or you could have 2 hands of cards, one for each sort of unit, whoever's assigned to, you know, whatever player that is. So it makes for a fun, interesting game. Okay, hope you enjoyed the overview. This is a game that we both enjoy. I think this is probably your favorite game that we've played lately, by far.
Yep.
The last time you said it was Rocket Jockey. I think that's been far away replaced. You know, it's really fun. It's pretty tense. At the end, you're going to run out of units. You're going to roll dice, and you're not going to have any of your units come up, so you got to kind of, you know, play it careful. You can play different scenarios. You can play like a one-on-one with 2 big mechs or a whole bunch of mechs, whole different things. What do you like?
I like how the robots, like, they have the little crystals, and it tells you how much life you have. Like, if you forget and you don't have to write it down on a piece of paper or anything, you just look down at your robot and you can see it.
You can tell right away who's in danger of being killed and who's your strongest unit. It makes it real visually, you know, easy to take in.
And it also helps you decide which guy you're going to kill next.
That's right. Who you're going to target next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you always target the guy who has the least.
That's right. That's right. One thing for me is I think this system is simple enough and streamlined enough that they could easily sort of adapt maybe some more advanced stuff on it. Because, you know, it is sort of a pain at the end of the game when you roll dice and then, you know... He's a clown, this one. We've been trying to do this for a while, so I'm going to keep going. You roll dice and you don't get what you want, and so it's a pain. He's a good kid. He has fun. So I could see, you know, doing like dice modifiers to be able to change dice or add more cards and maybe new expansions, new units, new different types of things. But it's fun. You know, he's 11. Yes, he likes to play HeroScape, right? Kind of reminds you of HeroScape and stuff like that. And this is less messy than HeroScape, so I like this more.
Hey.
So we have a good time. You got a final thought for them before we crack ourselves up here?
Yeah.
What do you got to tell them?
HeroScape, I can kick your butt in HeroScape any day.
Okay. This is a review of Abaddon now.
I know, but still, I can beat you in either game.
Okay. Tell them what your final thought of this game is.
I really like the game, and I hope you guys go out and buy it. Okay, I'm telling you, buy the game later.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Yeah, it's very much fun. If you got a squirt like this guy, then it's a good game. Thanks.